does lack is work strength, because he hasn't been ridden for the past 12 months, and what he lacks is knowledge, because he hasn't been worked for the last 12 months. So, you know, what you're going to be is he's sort of like a 3 coming 4 in some aspects, but yet he is a year older. So what that allows you to do is sort of take that sort of first year and run it through a little bit more. I mean, basically through their 3, 4 and 5-year-old year, the work is basically the same anyway, because, you know, the horse you have as a 3-year-old is very different from the horse you have as a 5-year-old. So what we allow for at the moment is the fact that he's going to make lots of baby mistakes. What we allow for the fact that because he hasn't been in work, he's not as fit, work fit, as what he would be as if he'd been worked for the last 12 months. But what we have to be aware of is that, you know, his brain, even though work-wise it's not as mature as what it should be if he was in work 12 months, he is a 5-year-old as well. So, you know, a little bit more physically just in normal nature, sort of grown up, so able to cope with a little bit more. And, you know, I mean, you know, if he's come from Zangazide over there anyway, you know, I mean, he would have been grown up with a big group of horses in big fields and stuff that would have kept him fairly fit and everything like that. So I think you can help him on his way a little bit, especially as now, I think what you have done is the right thing, especially considering you said, you know, he was so thin and things like that. So basically what you need to do is steadily, as the condition comes, as the feed's going into it, just slowly up the work, so you match it all. Because what you have to be very careful of is that, you know, once he starts to put on weight, you know, and the grass really comes through, and all of a sudden they get a bit of grass in their belly and stuff, he's going to get stronger quite quickly. And what you want to do is make sure you're developing him in a way that as he's getting stronger, he's developing strong how we want him to get strong, rather than waiting for him to get strong and then trying to deal with it. So, you know, the thing is at the moment he's very weak in his body, which means you're going to have more influence. So take advantage of that. So therefore, you know, he doesn't, that strength doesn't override. So what I would do too is, I think, I mean, we're going to work him around a little bit. I would go for slightly longer before giving him a break. Yeah. We have to listen to his body a little bit, but I would go for slightly longer before giving him a break, especially at the beginning. Obviously, as the session goes on, the breaks might come a little quicker. And I would keep everything quite simple in lines at the moment. You did a little leg yield. I wouldn't panic about that at the moment. I mean, he was quite happy to move across, which is great, you know, so that's nice. You sort of know it's there. But I think what he does need to learn to do, he just needs to learn to push forward into a contact in that correct frame, working over his back, you know, developing a mental understanding of where to go, what to do, but also building some muscle memory. So we need to keep it quite sort of basic like that, and then being able to start to play with a little bit of speed control, you know, just being able to move the pace around a little bit in the trot. Canter at the moment, it's sort of almost working at sort of 3 months behind the trot. Yeah, trot we can school him a little bit. Canter at the moment, you just have to ride it a little bit. And then the moment he starts to, you feel in the canter, he all of a sudden starts to wait for you slightly, you can start to school a canter. Because at the moment, the canter you just need to ride forward. What's important at the moment in the canter is he just learns to swing forward. You know, in a nicest frame, you know, best we can, but he just swings forward nicely. If you try and actually bring that canter back at the moment, he's not going to physically be able to hold it. So it's just building the strength there, as I say. So the trot we can work a little bit, the canter we do a bit, and we'll work it through anyway. But what I would do with the canter is, what I tend to do with my younger horses is I'll school the trot a little bit, both reins. But when I do the canter, I'll do one rein at a time at this stage. But go into the canter 2 or 3 times. Yeah? So like when we're ready, we'll go right or left canter first, whichever rein we're on. And we'll go into it, and we'll trot, and then we'll go back into it, and we'll trot, maybe go back into it, maybe a 3rd time, then he'll have a walk. Then we'll do the other rein. So we just separate a little bit, because what you will find also with the young horses, the canter will tire him out a lot. And because the canter tires him out a lot, if you do a right canter and then a left canter, and then you have a walk, and then maybe he's tired, maybe you don't get another canter, or if you do it right or left. It's a bit separated, and we've sort of got to, even though we can't school a canter, we still want to try and train the understanding of it a little bit. So just things like, just the fact of him having to pick up from trot to canter just helps a little bit, gets him a little bit more understanding the aid and how to close together a bit. So, all right, so let's pick him up a bit.